Hello Dogs fans, welcome to another episode of After the Dogs Roar for the season of 2017. Really excited to get stuck in to this episode, so let's have a look at the episode agenda. I'm going to start off the show with an overview of our AFL Round 14 clash, which was at Etihad Stadium on Saturday night against North Melbourne. Looking forward to talking about that match. My votes from that match for the After the Dogs Roar Best and Fairest Award will follow the overview. Then going to have a look at where we stand on the AFL ladder, whether we're back in the 8 or still outside the 8. I'll have a look at that. An overview of our VFL Round 10 clash v Werribee is coming up, as well as looking at our position on the VFL ladder after round 10. A preview of our VFL round 11 clash v Collingwood is coming up, as well as a preview to our next AFL clash, our round 15 clash v the West Coast Eagles. And the fan favourite segment also coming up at the end of the show, as always. Of course, I have picked the best 5 questions to answer on the show. So let's not muck around, let's get stuck in to the episode. So on Saturday night we were back at our home ground of Etihad Stadium to take on North Melbourne in a must-win clash. We had dropped the last 2 games. We'd lost to Sydney and Melbourne coming into this game on Saturday night. This was a must-win, it's no question about that, especially if we want to make finals in 2017. So a lot at stake in this match. We did get off to a good start, I thought. In fact, we had a pretty solid lead at quarter time in what was a high-scoring game, I must say. 6-4-40 to North Melbourne, 3-4-22. So we had a really good 3-goal lead. It was a really good start from our boys, and I thought it continued in the second quarter. We got away from North Melbourne a little bit. They did kick a few goals to keep themselves in it, but we led at half-time 10-8-68. To North Melbourne, 7-5-47, and we did have an okay sort of lead at 3-quarter time. North Melbourne was still in it, but I thought we had some really good control at 3-quarter time, with the score being 13-14-92 to 12-7-79 North Melbourne. Now this is where it started to kind of go pear-shaped in the 4th quarter, because unfortunately we let North Melbourne back into the match, and they probably could have won it. But, well, thanks to Stringer, who kicked the winning behind, the winning point, I should say, we were able to get over the line by 1 point. The final score being North Melbourne 15-17, 107. Defeated North Melbourne 16-10, 106. I was kind of not happy with the result at the end of the game, but then I thought, you know what, a win is a win, and that's really all you need when you're in a form slump like we have been. So, you know, we had control for a majority of the match, but just let it slide in the 4th quarter. But we were able to hang on and able to win the match by a point. And hopefully this is the win that really gets us going into the rest of the season. Let's have a look at the goal kickers first of all, before I talk about the other parts of the game. The goal kickers: Picken kicked 3, Redpath returned and kicked 2. Dale, I thought he was outstanding. He kicked 2 goals. Hunter, Wallace, Suckling, Dalhouse, Stringer, Wood, Campbell, and Bontempelli kicked singles in the match. And the best players were Bontempelli, McRae, Picken, Campbell, Wood, and also Dalhouse. Campbell, I thought, was very, very good. Came in and made an impact. He won the hit-outs 49 to Goldstein's 23. Had a really good day on the park. In fact, I think it was Matt Button on the forum said that he thought Campbell would be playing his last game or something along the lines of that on Saturday night. But he really came out and made a statement, and probably kind of made the statement that he's not set to go anywhere. He looks like he could make a real impact at our club after that performance on Saturday night. We you know, a lot of people have went on about the well, not in our Western Bulldogs forum base, but probably outside other supporter groups and so forth, and media have probably said that North Melbourne kind of lost it because of the free kicks. I don't think that's true at all. I don't subscribe to that, because if you look at the stats, the other stats, we won most of the important stats. We won the disposals. We had 381 disposals to North Melbourne 311. The kicking efficiency was even, but we won the contested possessions. We also won the marks. We had 87 marks to 68. I think that's where we really won the game, I think, is the marks. It was really, really good. The pressure was there. Our tackling pressure was there, 83 to 79. It wasn't much of a win in the tackles, but we still won the tackles, and we had a lot of clearances. North Melbourne had one more inside 50 than us, but we did kick more behinds than them. We actually kicked 17 behinds, so then again, the kicking problem was kind of back in this game. We had more behinds than goals, and that's probably not good enough, to be honest, and we probably could have won by more than a point, to be honest. Of course, Campbell missed a few, and there was other shots that were kind of easy ones that we missed. But we had a lot of marks inside 50, whereas North Melbourne didn't, and to be honest, we won most of the crucial areas of the game, and that's what's really pleasing. And especially, you know, contested possessions. That's something we probably have been struggling at, as well as maybe marks and so forth as well, and just getting some, you know, disposal of the ball, and that's something we've probably struggled with the last couple of weeks. So I thought we got back to a really good standard on Saturday night. Yes, we won by only a point, but you have to look at it from the 3 quarters of the game we played. We pretty much controlled the game for most of the game, really, except the 4th quarter, and that's where Beveridge will obviously be looking at during the week, obviously, to you know, so we can put 4 quarters of football together next week against the West Coast Eagles. So, look, I'm happy with the game in the end. It was only by a point, but like I said, when we're in a form slump, when any team's in a form slump by this, to just win a game is just what we need and what any team needs when they're in a form slump, and that's exactly what we were able to do. So, a good win, of course. Now we need to obviously focus ourselves forward to our next game, which is, of course, another crucial one. It's, of course, at our home ground. We'll talk about that in a short amount of time. But let's now move on to my votes for this game. Okay, time now for my round 14 votes for the After the Dogs Raw Best and Fairest Award. And there was about 4 or 5 players who I probably could have given the votes to, but I could only pick 3. I've given 1 vote to Tom Campbell. I thought he was really outstanding in this match. Besides the kicking, he did win the hit-outs, and I thought he had a really good impact on the game. He did kick a goal in the end, but of course 2 behinds, which he probably should have ended up with 3, to be honest, but his kicking just let him down. He might have been higher up in the votes if he could have kicked 3, but I thought he returned to the senior side, did very, very well, and I was very pleased, because I know there's a lot of people who probably think that Tom Campbell's probably out the door next year, but he's kind of proved them wrong a little bit in this game. So Tom Campbell gets 1 vote for me. 2 votes, this might be a bit of a controversial call to some people, but this is just my opinion. Marcus Bontempelli gets the 2 votes. He was outstanding in this match, though. He kicked 1 goal, 28 disposals, 3 marks, 21 of those disposals were kicks, 7 handballs. He was really good in this match. He made 10 tackles as well, so I thought he was outstanding. But the man who gets the 3 votes for me is Jack Macrae. I was really impressed with Jack Macrae on Saturday night. He gets the 3 votes, just above Marcus Bontempelli. Only just. It was a close call from my point of view, but Jack Macrae, 32 disposals, the most out of any player on the field. 18 handballs, 14 kicks, 7 marks. That's probably where I kind of lean towards Jack Macrae a little bit, is that he had more marks than Bontempelli, and he made 10 tackles as well as Bontempelli did as well. He got 137 fantasy points. So I thought he had a good game. He actually really impressed me. He was one of those noticeable players throughout the entire match. And yeah, Jack McRae gets my 3 votes. So let's have a look now at how that's affected the After the Dogs Raw Best and Fairest leaderboard. So Marcus Bonampelli has taken back the lead from Caleb Daniel, who took the lead from him last week. Marcus Bonampelli sitting first on 13 votes. Caleb Daniel has slipped to second on 12 votes. Joint third is Luke Dalhouse and Jack McRae on 9 votes. You then have fifth Lockie Hunter with 6 votes. Jason Johannesson 6 with 5 votes. Lynn Jonga Jake Stringer 4 votes on joint 7th. Joint 9th is Mitch Wallace, Tom Liberatore on 3 votes. Joint 11th is Matthew Suckling, Toby McLean, Zane Cordy on 2 votes each. And then on joint 14th is Liam Picken, who, by the way, is in a bit of doubt for this week's game against the West Coast Eagles after an injury in Saturday night's game. Jack Redpath, Bailey Dale, Tom Campbell, all with 1 vote each on joint 14th. So that is the leaderboard after round 14 for the After Dogs Raw Best and Fairest Award. Marcus Bonampelli has snatched back the lead. He leads on 13 votes, just 1 vote ahead of Caleb Daniel. They've both been impressive players so far in 2017. Now time for a quick look at where we stand on the AFL ladder after round 14, and we are on 9th position. We were in the top 8 after that win on Saturday night, but St Kilda did win on Sunday against the Gold Coast Suns. They've slipped into 8th. They got a pretty good win there, and so they're just inside the top 8 on percentage. Of course, we are on level points with the West Coast Eagles, so that is a must-win game. And if we win that one, we could be in the we probably most likely will be in the top 8 after round 15. The Sydney Swans not far behind us, just 4 points above or below us, sorry. And of course Essendon not far away, as well as Fremantle not far away. Those teams not far away from us after round 14. But yeah, we're on 9th place. We versus the West Coast Eagles, who are in 7th. We win this week, we're inside the top 8 after round 15. So a crucial game this Saturday. Okay, time now to get into our VFL round 10 clash, which took place on Saturday, 2 PM at Whitten Oval against Werribee. Of course, I mentioned last week that we had already versed Werribee this year, won pretty convincingly earlier in the season right here at this very ground, Victoria University, Whitten Oval, of course, our beautiful home ground and training base. And, well, it was a pretty good display by our VFL side. We led at quarter time, 24-16. We led at half time, 40-25. We led at three-quarter time, 78-50. And then in the end, we were able to get the points. Werribee were just playing catch-up footy throughout the whole game. And we had a solid win in the end. Bounced back after a loss last week. The final score being Footscray 13-17. 95 defeated Werribee 10-11-71. Let's have a look at the all-important goal kickers. Brown kicked 4, Nash kicked 2, Webb, Tehesky, Beckwith, Gowers, Smith, Hamilton, Malinga, Mahue and Lipinksi kicked singles. And the best players, Kieran Collins got best on ground. You would have to think that he is not very far away from getting into the senior side. Would have thought when Marcus Adams came out that he was the next on the agenda to come in, but surely he's not far away. Matthew Boyd probably in the discussion for selection this week against the West Coast Eagles. He probably isn't far away after probably making up some ground in the VFL the last couple of weeks after being dropped. Nash, Hayes, Roberts and English also got in the best players there. So a good win from our VFL side. Of course, the senior blokes to talk about, of course, like I mentioned, Collins and Boyd, surely not far away and surely in discussions, the selection discussions this week. Of course, you'd have to probably look at Roberts and English a little bit as well, but we probably don't have to make too many changes for this week's game against the West Coast Eagles. But there you have it. Good win from our VFL side, our Footscray VFL side. And let's have a look now at where we stand on the ladder after round 10 of the VFL. So we've moved up into the top 4. We're currently 4th on the ladder. We're on joint points with the Northern Blues, Casey Demons and also Werribee. So of course we have got the better percentage out of all of those 3 teams who are on 24 points with us as well. We versed Collingwood, who are down the bottom end of the ladder. In fact, they're 12th. So you would think we'll be able to go away from home and win that game. Of course, I'll be having a look at that game very, very shortly. But we're inside the top 4. We're on 4th position with the 6 wins, the 4 losses. We are not going too bad in the VFL at the moment. We're actually cruising along. Well, not cruising along, but we're going quite nicely at this present stage. And like I mentioned, our next VFL game, our Round 11 VFL clash, is against Collingwood. It's away from home at Victoria Park, good old Victoria Park, on Saturday the 2nd of July, 11:45 AM. So it's pretty much starting just before our senior side play. Probably not going to be finished until about 2 o'clock this game, so we'll probably run into to the senior game. They of course start at 1:45. I'll be having a look at that game very shortly. But like I said, Collingwood on 12th position. They're probably not travelling along that nicely, so you would have to think that we are expected to win this clash and hopefully get 2 in a row after, of course, losing the week before our game against Werribee. So, yeah, good luck to our Footscray Bulldogs. Let's hope they get another win after what was a great win on Saturday against Werribee. Okay, time now to have a look at our Round 15 clash, which is against the West Coast Eagles on Saturday the 1st of July. It's starting at 1:45 PM. It is at Etihad Stadium, and you can watch all the action on Fox Footy. Really looking forward to this game. It's a real important game, this one. It would mean a lot to the club if we could get 2 in a row. Of course, we have already versed the West Coast Eagles this year. We got beaten in what was a game where we probably could have won, to be honest. The West Coast Eagles are actually coming off a loss at home coming into this game. And in fact, they're probably coming into a bit of a poor record at Etihad Stadium. Of course, they've lost to a few teams already at Etihad Stadium, or in Melbourne, I should say, this year. But I'd like to think we would be. We'd be expected to win since it is at home, but of course it's not going to be like that because it still will be a tough game. Of course, we've won 5 of our 6 home games this year, so we've got a pretty good record at home this year, and that's why it's crucial to win all our home games, because we don't have the best of records when we go interstate this year. Of course, we haven't won interstate at all this year, but I think we have a pretty good record at Etihad Stadium against the West Coast Eagles. The last 2 times we've actually won against the Eagles at home. We did verse them last year at home and beat them 12-11-83 to the West Coast Eagles 11-9-75. Was a close tussle though, so it's going to be a close game, I reckon. We are the worst centre clearance team, but however we did win the centre clearances against North Melbourne on Saturday night, so we probably need to win that area of the game if we're gonna win pretty convincingly, to be honest. If we can win most areas of the game like we did on Saturday night, then we can definitely win this game. Of course, the West Coast Eagles, they're under pressure as well, to be honest. So it's going to be a good game. Looking forward to this one. Of course, it's on Saturday the 1st of July, 1:45 PM. Cannot wait against the West Coast Eagles at our home ground of Etihad Stadium. You can watch it all on Fox. Okay, time now for the all-important 5-fan questions. I really do love presenting this segment on the show, so keep sending your questions in because I love answering them. And this segment, the 5-fan questions, is a core segment of the show. So let's get stuck into the first question by Matt Button. He asks, with Murphy and Tom Boyd due to come back and Matthew Boyd close to recall, who goes out? Well, I think Tom Boyd is not coming back this weekend. He's coming back through the VFL and not the senior side. That's according to the medical staff of the Western Bulldogs. So Tom Boyd's most certainly not going to play in the senior side this week against the West Coast Eagles. Robert Murphy is a good chance for selection this week. You would have to think that with Liam Picken in a bit of doubt after that injury against North Melbourne, that Robert Murphy comes in and Liam Picken comes out. Matthew Boyd, whether he gets a recall this week or not, he probably should, because he's been playing very, very well in the VFL. So probably with Matthew Boyd, if he comes in, I think it's probably going to have to be out of Biggs and Johannesson. I don't think these 2 players have been performing to their absolute best of late. Of course, I know Johannesson has been targeted and stuff like that, but he needs to actually learn to control it a little bit. On the weekend, he was getting far too sucked into to little kind of fights where he just needs to push off the opponent and run away and leave it alone. That's what he needs to do. So whether he gets dropped to the VFL for a week or so, I'm not sure. Maybe Matthew Boyd doesn't come in. I'm not certain that he will come in this week or not. Of course he should, because he's in good form. But it is. I think it's hard to pick. It would have to be out of Biggs or Johannesson at least. But one change I'd like to see this week is Clay Smith come in. I think he's been playing very, very well in the VFL. I think probably Tory Dixon will have to come out if Clay Smith comes in, because I didn't think Tory Dixon had the best of games against North Melbourne. So to answer your question, of course, Murphy I think will come in and Pickham will come out. I think that's an easy one. If Boyd was to come in, I think it'd be out of Biggs or Johannesson, and I think Clay Smith could come in for Tory Dixon. Thomas asks an interesting question. Even though the team got the win on the weekend, do you believe changes will be made or continuity of the current team? Was it a convincing win? Looking forward to the episode. Look, I don't think there'll be too many changes this week. I wouldn't expect to be too many changes. I think there'll just probably be the 2 or the 3 at the max, to be honest. I think anything beyond that is a bit ridiculous, to be honest. I think our team... what I take away from the game is that our team were pretty good for 3 quarters. The 4th quarter was a bit of a letdown though. So that's where obviously, Beveridge needs to get around his group and try and find a way to play, 4 quarters of consistent football. Because if we played consistently in the 4th quarter, we probably would have won by more than we actually did. We only won by a point, obviously. But yeah, so I think probably the current team you'd have to go with. Of course, the obvious changes, Picken is very, very unlikely to play this week, so you'd have to think Murphy comes in for him. Of course, we need our captain back, I would say, and obviously, there's probably Matthew Boyd and like I said, Clay Smith in line for selection, and possibly even Kieran Collins. But I would think that 2 or 3 changes is only necessary for the game this week against the West Coast Eagles. Jack asks, do you think after beating Goldstein, Campbell should be our permanent ruck and Roughhead should play down back? Well, I don't think we should get carried away about Campbell just yet. He did play very, very well, and he was very dominant against Goldstein, who of course is an All-Australian ruckman. Of course, Goldstein a bit out of form at the moment with, of course, the out of form North Melbourne, but he did play well, Campbell. I don't think I'd go as far to say that he should be our permanent ruckman, though, because it's only been 1 game. In terms of Roughhead playing down back, I don't think he should play down back unless he improves his defensive game, because I wasn't happy with his performance down back on Saturday night. In fact, I thought it was quite woeful by him, and that will hurt him a little bit. In fact, I don't think he's played very well in the defence since he's been at the club, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's a harsh call or not. I'm not sure if I'm being too harsh, but I don't think he's very good up defence. In fact, he had, 7 disposals on Saturday night. He only took 1 mark. He was probably outmarked at various stages during the game in defence, and I just didn't think he played a very good game up there. So I think, either put him back in the ruck or get him out of the side, really. But I think he can only really play... He can only really play that permanent ruck position, Jordan Roughhead, because he can't go down back unless he really improves his defensive game, and that's probably where the defensive coaches need to step in and try and work with him, because he's just not getting any, and he's not getting fist to ball when he's up defence, and this has been seen the last couple of years. So look, I think Roughhead next week I'd like to see him go back to the ruck, maybe play a rotation role with Campbell. I think Campbell might be able to play a little bit of a better role up back, maybe throw someone else that is tall up down the defence, and maybe move Campbell up in the forward line, because he seems to do very well in the forward line, Campbell, and just play a rotation role. Maybe put Roughhead up in the forward line. He can take a good grab at times, but he just doesn't do it in defence. So do I think Campbell should be our permanent ruck? I don't think so at the moment, because it's only been 1 game. I'd like to see a few more games against other ruckmen before we can actually say that he should be our permanent ruck, because I think Roughhead's very good at rucking, but I don't think Roughhead should play more down back unless he really improves his defensive game. Jenny Roach asks, what impact do you think our percentage may have on our ability to gain a higher position in the top 8? Oh, it will make a very big impact, of course. In fact, we've got 3 or 4 teams level with us on points, and yet we're out of 9th, we're out of the top 8 just because of percentage. So percentage is going to be crucial at the end of the year, especially how close the competition is this year. It's probably closer than previous years. It's closer than last year. In fact, this time last year the top 8 was sewed up, and we knew the top 8 from this round on. But it's very close this year. There is teams outside the top 8 trying to make the top 8. And percentage is going to be all important. So, yeah, it will have a very, very big impact, not just on our position inside the top 8, but also our whether we actually make the top 8. We might not make the finals at the end of the year due to percentage. How sad would that be? That would hurt quite a lot. So, you know, it is important to win games, and maybe important to win by a good margin as well, because percentage is going to be crucial at the end of the year. I can promise you that. Red WB asks, do fans believe we must finish in the top 4 to be a genuine chance to win the flag again? No, of course not. You know, last year was remarkable, wasn't it? We finished 7th on the ladder, and we were able to beat the West Coast Eagles in the first week, go on to beat Hawthorn at the MCG, go to Spotless, beat GWS, and then of course win the grand final against the Sydney Swans at the G. So that was remarkable. We were what, in 7th place. So no, I don't think we need to be in the top 4 to have a genuine chance. Yes, it would be preferable to finish in the top 4, because then you get that you know, straight through the preliminary final, and if you win and if you lose, then obviously you get another chance to back up the next week. But no, you don't have to be in the top 4 to have a genuine chance. In fact, there's probably teams outside the top 4 right now that are inside the top 8 that can actually win the flag. So yeah, that's my view on that. I think yeah, we don't have to be in the top 4 to have a genuine chance. We just have to be inside the top 8. Now, I just want to add an extra question, because I really want to answer this question from Jamie. He asks, is Suckling in our best 22? Of course he's in our best 22. I know he's been getting a bit of stick the last couple of weeks. So I don't know why, especially on the forum. I don't really know why, because he's a very underrated player at the moment. He's a 2-time premiership player. He was a great player for Hawthorn in the era of 2014 and 15. He was a very crucial part of those premierships, and he still is a very crucial part of our senior team. He has a deserved role inside our best 22. Players do get out of form at times, but I want to see him in our best 22. I don't want to see him out of it. I don't want to see him in the VFL. He's a leader more than anything, because he's a very experienced player, and he's a very good player. He's got a good kick. He can go up defence. He can go up forward. He's a very influential player. He is definitely in our best 22. And that is it for this week's episode of After the Dogs Roar, episode 22. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed listening to my views and my wrap-up of the games, and of course my previews and so forth to the upcoming games. Don't forget to like, comment and share this video. Subscribe to keep up to date with the other upcoming episodes of this show. Of course, I do this show right up until our last game of the season, so make sure you subscribe. And in case you're not aware, I do another show on the internet. In fact, I do a live show called The Bev Show. I've got my very own Bev Show mug here, and I live stream on facebook.com/The Bev Show. I live stream every Sunday. That is Melbourne time, of course, every Sunday night, 8:30 PM. All you have to do is go over to the Facebook page, like it, and you can watch my live stream where I answer questions and so forth. So you can ask me, like people have been asking me on this show with the 5 fan questions. You can ask me anything related to the Western Bulldogs, and I'll answer it if I don't miss the comments. So go and check it out, facebook.com/The Bev Show. Really would appreciate if all the Western Bulldogs supporters, members, and those in the forum could support the show, because it is a growing show, that's for sure. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Let's hope the Dogs can get over the line and get back-to-back wins against the West Coast Eagles, or I should say, you know what I mean. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and bye for now.